And we're live. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth, everybody. It's Rod with Pow Group. Today is Monday. It's February 3rd. And this is your home for MJ stocks, crypto, assets, news, alerts, more analysis, all that good stuff. I know a lot of people are rattled today. I had a lot of people requesting me do a Tilray video, and even on my XRP live stream that I just finished streaming, there was a lot of people asking about Tilray. So we'll come on, we'll do some analysis. I've been calling for under $1 on Tilray for a while now. There was a daily bear flag target of about 98 cents, and we also have a descending triangle target of about 87 cents. But again, we'll bring up the chart and we'll discuss the price action, the technicals, in the days, weeks, months ahead. Before we do, make sure to smash like, all that good stuff. Let us know where you're tuning in from, and we'll get started here in about 30 seconds. We got Jam in the house. Thank you for doing this, Rod. No problem at all. Thank you for joining the live stream. I see we have a ton of people flowing in now. So a bit of a last minute live stream once again, but I know it's been a rough day in the market, and I wanted to come on and check in with everybody. We have Mr. Mankey in the house as well, VIP member here on YouTube. Thank you very much for being a member. Here we are, still holding. Yeah, still holding here as well. I posted a video, it was last week, right, that I added my first purchase of my TFSA in 2025. I didn't add today, but yeah, I'll be looking to rotate a lot of my crypto profits soon. All right, I think we got enough people here now. We've got a few dozen. So let's get started. Once again, it's Rod with Pow Group. Thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth, everybody. We did drop under $1 today on Tilray brand, so naturally, a lot of people are going to be very upset. And is it time to panic, right? I think that's what everybody wants to know. You're going to see the reverse split panic and potentially FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. I don't think it's FUD. I think it very much could happen. So we have to look at that as the most likely scenario at this point. We're under $1. And we could see another leg down with that descending triangle target of around 87 cents. And, names like VFF, they're well under $1. CGC, Aurora, all the major names have done reverse splits. The only ones that, the U.S. names don't get any attention on that because they're not listed on U.S. major exchanges, so they don't have that minimum bid price rule, right? So they're not lumped into the same bucket as these Canadian LPs that trade on these U.S. major exchanges. But the same thing will plague the U.S. names once they uplist to the NYSE and the NASDAQ eventually. So, you kind of have to remember these lessons learned. And just because a stock does a reverse split doesn't mean that it's the end of the world, right? It doesn't mean that it's for sure not going to recover, right? It's just a way for market makers to manipulate the market like they do with regular stock splits. Essentially, stock splits, regular ones, just make it so that it's cheaper and there's more shares so that they can, once things get so expensive, nobody wants to buy it or they're not able to. Imagine an Amazon share of $2,000 USD. No one's going to want to buy that, and psychologically, they're not going to want to buy it. But if they do like a 20 just a 20 for 1 normal stock split, and it's now $100, people are like, oh, I want to buy it, but it's still the same value, right? The net asset value is still the same, which is kind of funny. But yeah, before we get to it, make sure to smash like, all that good stuff. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, follow us over on X as well. Formerly Twitter handle for that is @GroupPow. And we were discussing this in the Pow Group private community yesterday. Shout out to Andy. I think Tilray heard us, but they posted an article on their X, formerly Twitter account, about how it's going to affect their business with regards to the tariffs. And I said in the Pow Group private community that it basically will not affect them at all. There's only a couple beer brands that I think they export to Canada, and that would be Shock Top and Alpine. I can't think of any others. I don't think Sweetwater Brewing's here. I don't think Breckenridge is here. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure Alpine and Shock Top are the two major ones. But the real thing is, the kicker is, and the key thing is, most of their beer is made in the U.S. and then all of their Canadian operations for MJ is all within Canada. So, they don't really export anything to the U.S. And then, they have their Manitoba Harvest and all that good stuff. They have their hemp-derived drinks now as well, which are all, in my opinion, well, not in my opinion, to my knowledge, I think they're made in the U.S. So there's no issue there. So we'll go through this, and then we'll look at the chart here in just a moment. But yeah, if anybody needs to vent, by all means, let me know your thoughts and opinions. Do you think this is the end of the world? Do you think it's time to panic? I personally don't think it is at all. Like I said, I added I put my money where my mouth is, and I added it last week. So here was the video that I posted. It was the last video before the rapid fire news one. So I added these MJ stocks last week. This is about 4 days ago. I added Tilray, Cureleaf, Organigram, and Canopy Growth. So this was the post from Tilray. Tilray Brands recognizes the importance of keeping customers and investors informed about how recent changes to trade policies may influence our business. The 25% tariff on Canadian products does not significantly impact our operations. Our U.S. craft beer brands are made in America, and our Canadian MJ brands are products that are produced for domestic distribution in Canada and international distribution across Europe. Tilray's U.S. operations and supply chain strategy ensure that the majority of our products are sourced domestically within the United States, thereby mitigating any significant effects on this tariff. We have carefully developed a robust supply network that guarantees our products maintain the highest standards of quality while being delivered promptly at a competitive price. Tilray Brands is committed to continuing to produce and sell our products in the most cost-effective manner without interruption. So there you go. We'll jump into the chart here. So I don't know how long it's been. It's been at least a few months that I've been saying that, this descending triangle target of around 87 cents. You can see that that red target here is the descending triangle. And what you would do is you just zoom out to the monthly and you can see it a lot better here. You can see here that we had that horizontal line of support and then the descending line of resistance. It just shows that you have lower highs and lower lows. It's getting weaker, and generally these break to the downside. And then if you invert the scale, that's an ascending triangle, and that would be a bullish continuation pattern. But in this case, we're on regular scale and it's a bearish continuation pattern. And then you just take your measured move, like I said, from the apex of that. And I usually use the real candle bodies and then move it out to the neckline. And then, like I said, you're looking at, usually you do the breakout point of where we break out of that pattern, and that's your measured move, and it's saying around 87 cents. So if we zoom into the daily as well, what you want to look for is confluence. You want to say, okay, well, there's one pattern, bearish continuation pattern, and clue that we could potentially be seeing sub $1. And then if you zoom in here to the daily time frame, you can see that let me just get rid of a couple of these here. So if you zoom into the daily time frame here and go from the high to the low, move that out to your 0.32 fib, and you have your measured move there of 98 cents. And today we hit 97 cents. So not only did we have the descending triangle saying 87 cents, we had the daily bear flag target saying 98 cents. MJ stocks just continued to be beaten down, right? Look at high tide. I mentioned after the earnings that we could see 250. Today we hit 255. So a lot of people thought I was crazy. It's like, what are you smoking? Like, stop going to high tides. Are you just living at high tide Canna Cabana store smoking all that stuff or what? But again, this typically happens after a name like High Tide reports earnings. It typically sells off and then recovers. But I mentioned that we didn't have any support down to around 250, and MJ just continues to be drugged down, right? It's just not popular at the moment. Big tech, crypto, AI continues to steal the show. And MJ will benefit from sector rotation once those sectors top out, but there's no signs of it happening yet. And then obviously crypto went through a brutal downturn yesterday, and then today, all this scare on tariffs, and then now the U.S. has made a deal with Mexico, and China's working on a deal, and Canada's contemplating becoming a 51st state to avoid a trade war. So it's just hilarious how quickly things change, right? But all that said, right, it actually wasn't that bad of a day today. On average, most names were only down about 5%. Some crypto names were absolutely destroyed, like XRP, which I just did a live stream on that one. Just look at from the high of yesterday to the low of the day today, we were down 40%, right? So for a name like Tilray to only be down 5% is not that bad, but we've also been crushed. So a name like XRP is up 800% in the last 6 months. Well, you need to expect a 40-50% pullback after an 800% move with no support. Whereas Tilray has been absolutely destroyed for the last couple of years. So on a day like today, of course, it's not going to be down 40%. It wouldn't make a whole lot of sense, right? It was down 40% just in the last few weeks. So if you're down that much now, it's going to be harder to knock it down. But if we were at $1.70 and then this news came out today with the tariffs, but as we know, they're not really affected by it, but it's the scare, right? It's the panic that sets in the market that just everything sells off, right? So again, I got called crazy. Everybody thought I was, hey, you're Mr. Tilray Bull, and then all of a sudden you're saying we're going to 87 cents. And it's like, no, I'm not saying we're going to 87 cents. I wish we were going to $87. Right? I'm saying the charts are saying we're going to 87 cents. And if I tell you otherwise, then I'm disingenuous and I'm a liar, right? So I tell the truth and try to look at it as unbiased as possible. Tilray is my number one MJ holding. I'm transparent in saying that. But my number one crypto holding is XRP, and I have more dollars invested into XRP than my entire MJ portfolio combined, right? And that's because crypto's been in an almost 5-year bull market, and MJ stocks have been in almost a 5-year bear market, right? So you have to call it as it is. And, I wish this was an inverse head and shoulders saying $87 was the target, but it's not. It's 87 cents. And now we have to cue the potential of a reverse split. That's very well could happen, right? Look at VFF. I hear tons of people saying how good VFF is, but no one's talking about, they've been under a dollar for forever now. And it's their second warning under a dollar to regain minimum bid price rule. So in my opinion, it's not a concern. Tilray has already voiced this here that they're not affected by tariffs. And the company, in my opinion, just because the stock price is low doesn't mean that the company is a bad company, right? Amazon dropped 95% in 2001, and no one remembers that, even remembers that. You tell that to some people these days, and they're like, no, they didn't, right? Like they don't even know, right? Because it's a memory of a goldfish. So, this just because a company drops 95% or over 90% doesn't mean it's the end of the world and that it can't recover. And even if it does a reverse split, I don't care. It's not going to be the end of the world. There's some positives that come with a reverse split as well. But overall, if a company does a reverse split, that's a net negative, right? I'm not trying to spin it and saying it's positive. I'm saying there's some positives, but there's definitely more negatives for sure, right? So again, I had a lot of people commenting on my videos as well, saying, thank you very much for the heads up. You were right. Tilray did hit my first target was 114. This other bear flag here, and they're like, wow, you saved me from entering. I was going to dollar cost average and add more at like $1.50. You saved me from adding then, and I waited till $1.14 and they hit your target, and then I added there. So thank you. But again, I'm not telling you to buy, sell, or hold or give you financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. But that's the beauty of looking at these charts is if we're at $2 or $1.50 and there's a daily bear flag target saying 114, and then there's another one saying 98 and a descending triangle here saying 87. Well, why are you going to add it at $1.50, right? Maybe you want to wait until sub $1 or, maybe add a bit at around $1.20, $1.10, $1.90, 80 cents, right? Just kind of like stagger in, right? So I get a lot of people saying, I can't believe it went under $1. You were, bang on. You were saying this for many, many months now. And again, it's not that I wanted it to go under $1 or I say it was going under $1 because I think it's going under $1. I'm looking at the charts and I'm looking for clues, signals, patterns, indicators, and all the signs were pointing that we could see more downside. We had a stochastic, a MACD bear cross on the weekly, well below the 10-week moving average, all below our weekly moving averages, all below all of our daily moving averages. So just not a good look for all MJ. And then you're like, oh, stupid Tilray, this is the worst thing to invest in ever. Well, no, that would be false. The whole sector's like this, right? I see it all the time. People are like, oh, they fixate on one name. And the reason why they're doing that is because that's the majority of their holdings. Quite often than not, when I ask somebody how much other MJ stocks do you own, they're like, only Tilray. And it's like, well, no wonder you're so pissed off at Tilray and only mention Tilray, and you don't say the MJ sector, you say Tilray because in your mind there is nothing else, right? But if you actually look at beyond Tilray, everything's down, right? Look at Green Thumb. So GTII, right? How many people do you know that say that Green Thumb's a bad company? They're profitable. Their margins are like what, in the 60%? Like it's insane. This company, since April of last year, 2024, the stock is down 54%. So tell me why. Why is a name that's profitable, great fundamentals, great earnings, why are they down 54% since April? That's because they're an MJ stock. They're in a sector that's down 80 to 90% on average from their 52-week and all-time highs, right? So if it's an MJ stock, right, look at AVCN, Avacana. It's not even really an MJ stock. It's a biopharmaceutical stock, right? Biotech. And, even I interviewed the CEO, Ross, and, mentioned many times that, he's like, well, we're not really technically an MJ stock, so we shouldn't be, we shouldn't be really affected stock price wise. And he's like, boy, was I ever wrong, right? He's like, we were still in that same bucket and we were absolutely destroyed, right? The name was down 97%, 98%. Okay. It's like TrueLeave, right? Everybody loves TrueLeave as well. And the stock is down. If we bring up TCNNF from all-time highs, let me get rid of some of these busy lines here. So from all-time high on TrueLeaf to just the recent low there a couple months ago, we're down 91%. And then from the low there of 2023, it was down 93%. Pure Leaf. Right? Actually, we want to go from CRLF on the OTC. From its all-time high to the low of last month, it's down over 95%, right? So it's par for the course. I think, again, it's a psychological thing, and you want to, if you catch yourself saying Tilray, try to replace it with MJ stocks or the MJ sector, because it's going to make you, it's going to do something to you psychologically, right? You're not, because you can easily get like downright angry at when you're looking at this kind of a chart, right? Or you're looking at like the Tilray chart and it's under $1, and you might have an average at like $10 or $20. I know some people have averages in like the 30s, right? So, that does things to you like psychologically, right? So, and mentally and emotionally. So you have to check in with yourself. And I think by, just kind of remove, even if you only own Tilray, just say MJ stocks, the MJ sector, right? Because it's not just Tilray, it's everything in here. And, by saying, oh, Tilray this, Tilray that, it's like, you're being unfair to the stock. It's not just Tilray; it's the whole sector, right? It's lumped. Like I said, Avicanna is not even technically an MJ stock, and it's a medical company with great fundamentals and great earnings, great numbers, great profitability, great margins, industry leading margins, and the stock's still down over 90%, right? So it's par for the course. And the great thing about this is this could be the only time we see Tilray under $1 ever again, right? And then we could reverse split, and then for sure, very possible that this is the last time under $1. But again, just because Tilray's under $1 or there's a reverse split coming, I don't think it's the end of the world. I'm still very bullish on Tilray. I had a lot of people asking me how come a lot of my content lately hasn't been on Tilray, and that's just because I've been singing the same tune for the last few months. I've been saying 98 cents and 87 cents, and here we are. We're getting very close to those targets. And here I am doing an update video. So, there's no point on me coming on here every single day. And, I got a lot of other people that are interested in crypto as well. And crypto's stealing the show right now. And then we just had a big sell off in crypto and a big rebound. Like XRP. And you got to think, like, crypto is going to be $100 trillion asset class and sector. Like we'll have a hard time getting to 1 trillion in MJ, right? Like we're talking like tens of billions, total addressable market really, and market cap, right? It's going to be hard to get to 1 trillion for MJ, right? Market cap. Like crypto's already into the 3 and 4 trillions, right? So, and it's just early days. So crypto is going to get probably 50 to 100 trillion market cap, whereas, like I said, MJ will struggle to get to 1 trillion. MJ is my focus. MJ is my passion. That's the focus on this channel. Number one, focus of the channel. But, you have to, again, call a spade, and there's going to be a lot more opportunity with crypto than there is MJ just because of the amount of volume and the amount of upside. But yeah, look at XRP. Just from the high of yesterday to the low of the day today, we were down 40%. And then from the low of the day today to the high of the day today, we're up over almost 58%. 58% move in one day. And this is an asset that's in $150 billion market cap. Imagine if Tilray had a market cap of $160 billion. Its market cap is $928 million. That is insane. So that tells you that there's way more gains and opportunity in crypto than there is in MJ, at least right now. But just because MJ is only going to be like a $1 trillion market cap doesn't mean there's not opportunity. The percentages is what matters, right? If you put $1,000 into a name like XRP and it goes from 100 billion market cap to 10 trillion, well, the percentage is roughly around the same of Tilray going from a billion to 100 billion or whatever, right? So it doesn't really matter about, the market cap. It's the percentage gains. And like I said, there's a lot of opportunity here. If you buy it, let's say if you bought Tilray under $1 here, and we don't need to go to all-time highs because it's $300 and that was ridiculous. But it could go to all-time highs again, right? Absolutely it could, but we don't need it to. If you buy it at $1 or sub $1 and it just goes to the high of February 2021 at $67, that's a 65x. That's 6,500%. So for every $1,000 you invest at $1, you could earn $65,000 just if we go back to $67. So we don't, even if you go to $30, that's $30,000, right? So it's all about the percentages, not so much the price or the market cap. And I'm still getting over a cold, so just give me one moment while I cough my lungs out. Oh man, yeah, I just did a live stream for XRP, so you'll have to bear with me here. Kind of using up all my lung power on that live stream. So let me just smash some water here real quick, and I'll jump into the chat. Oh man, all right, feeling better, but wow, what a crazy virus I had over the last week. AYR, VFF, DB, and High Tide and Tilray lead in the decline today. On the bullish, we have Oxley, NEVI, and ABCN. Oxley's interesting here, holding its own. This is a name that I think is a massive risk versus reward as well. But interesting that it's holding its own here. And I wanted to mention something. Oh yeah, AYR. What was it? The CFO resigned today. I told people to be very, very cautious on this name. The only reason why I bought it was the Amendment 3 play. And if it passed, I thought, this is a name that has a very low market cap and could see a ton of, again, percentage gain. But I sold it after Florida kiboshed that, and we didn't get the legalization measure initiative passed. So yeah, I'd be very cautious on this one, Ray. Like the CEO stepped down out of nowhere. It was today. I'm pretty sure it was the CFO, right? Yeah, CFO resigns to pursue another opportunity. I wouldn't be. This company has a lot of debt. I'm not trying to spread fear or anything like that. I told people to be very, very cautious on AYR if Florida didn't pass, and this isn't a good look for the company. They might get scooped up for pennies on the dollars, or they might go with the big B word, to be completely, yeah, we'll see what happens, but not a great look for this stock whatsoever. And VFF, yeah, same boat, well under $1 now. How long has it been under $1? I think it has until April 16th to regain compliance, and it's not looking good. But yeah, we were at $1.62, closed at $1.19 in May. In June, we closed at 102. And when was the last time we hit $1? Yeah, so really here was the high at 104. So for the last 4 or 5 months, VFF has been under $1. And they only have 6 months to regain compliance, and this is their second time. So VFF, Village Farms International, could be due for a reverse split as well. So it's not just Tilray. Again, that's why we need to remove even if you're 100% invested into Tilray, try to replace Tilray with MJ sector, right? Because it's not just Tilray, it's the whole sector. Doesn't matter if you're profitable, unprofitable, US, Canadian, producer, retailer, all the same. Mr. Mankey, feeling all right, brutal for sure. Absolutely added some more for sure as well today. Very nice. Scary stuff, but good stuff. Yeah. Well, as they say, buy the blood and the fear in the streets, right? You be greedy when others are fearful, and there's a lot of fear out there. Time to buy. I would agree. This is a gift in my opinion. Looking at Tilray. But you have to remember, like, we're just finally dipping under $1. You're gonna see the talking heads, right? And by that I mean mainstream media, BNN, CNBC. They're all going to be saying a reverse split's coming, and we're under $1. Blah blah blah. You'll get tons of people on social media, on Reddit. That's why I stay off of there. It's just all noise and just gibberish, and a bunch of emotional people. And they're going to say, Tilray's going bankrupt. Blah blah blah. But yeah, there's a very good chance that we come down to around 87 cents, and I'm gonna be loading the boat once I start to take profits on crypto here over the next couple of months. I'm just foaming at the mouth at these prices. Cannot wait to lock in like massive crypto profits and then rotate it in. I'm not going to rotate all of it. Like maybe 5 or 10% of my crypto profits I'll put into more beaten down MJ. But yeah, it's going to be a fun day whenever I start hitting all the buy buttons on these MJ names. Just real quick too, some of the names that I'm really focusing on adding is going to be some more of the US names, but I'll just kind of go down the list here. So Aurora, I have a little bit of that, not much, maybe 1 or 2% of my portfolios in Aurora. I might add that one a little bit more just for a diversification play into medical and things like that. I think that the company, could potentially turn it around. I think it'll probably get merged with another company at some point. There's thousands of producers in the U.S. and Canada. There's look at any other industry. There's like 12-ish, like a dozen or two global players, like big players. Like look at the big tech industry, right? There's not going to be thousands and thousands of them. So AVCN out of Canada, I'll be looking to add that one. AYR wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. CGC, I'm definitely looking to add that one as well. I just think the way that they did investors dirty with the acreage deal, this is a company that's just too big to fail. They got Jetty, Wana, Canopy USA. They're probably going to acquire Terrascend as well, in my opinion. Eventually, Cresco, I'll look to potentially add that one. Cron, definitely be adding more of that one. Cureleaf, I'll be really loading the boat on that one. Decibel, I think I'm interested in purchasing a few of those. Green Thumb, definitely be adding. High Tide, can't say enough good things about High Tide. I'll be loading the boat on that one a few more times as well. Canara Biotech, love, great company, small operator here in Canada. Not a big fan of the ETFs like MSOS. I'll maybe just for a diversification play, but I don't really see the point on paying them fees, especially in the last few years. Like you're down 80, 90% and you're charging me a fee. You're charging me money to lose me 80%. It's like kind of silly when you think about it, right? So I'd rather just pick the individual names personally. And, there's a lot of garbage in those ETFs sometimes too, right? Organogram, can't say enough good things about Organogram. I'm going to be looking to add the boat on that one. Let me just see here. VFF, yeah, I own a little bit of that one. I'll be looking to add that. SNDL, adding a ton of that. TrueLeave, I don't own any yet. I might look to take a position. Oxley bags are pretty much packed. So yeah, those are some of the ones that I'm looking at. We'll jump into the chat here. Start wrapping up. Maybe time to panic because of tariffs. True. Yeah. Well, again, they put out a statement, and we were just talking about this yesterday. It was like last night in the Pow Group private community, me and Pow Group private community member Andy, and it's almost as if they heard us. And literally, like a few hours after after I woke up, I saw it. I was like, perfect. But yeah, they're not going to be affected really by it at all. I tried the Happy Flower and it was super good. Loved them. That's great to hear. I can't wait to try it. Hopefully they bring like the similar flavors to Canada. Chances of a reverse split, I would probably put it at like 70 to 80% at this point. I don't think that's the end of the world though. I don't want a reverse split to happen. Yeah, so there's some good things that can come. Obviously, again, I'm not trying to be Mr. Permabull here or downplay it. A reverse split is bad, right? No ifs, ands, or buts. It's not a good look. But there is some positives, right? So it's like 80 to 90% bad, but there might be like, 10 to 20% positive from it. So one thing that's positive from a reverse split is if you get your share price up to around, the $5 mark, is institutional investors pour in. They don't typically play around with stocks that are very, very low in terms of like the penny stock, right? If it's like $1 or a couple of dollars, they don't really want to have anything to do with it. And if we do a reverse split, it's going to lower the shares. So that's something that a lot of people have been saying as well, is there's a lot of shares in Tilray, so it takes a lot to move the price, right? So there'll be some positive come from it as well, but those are just a couple there. And it doesn't change the net asset value, right? Like if you have $1,000 invested into Tilray or $10,000 or $100,000, if they do a reverse split, yes, your shares get cut, right? Price goes up, shares go down. You have less shares, but you still have the same amount of money, right? You still have the same value. So it doesn't change anything. It's just an accounting trick, right? So that is why U.S. should legalize ASAP to generate huge revenue. Yeah, absolutely. Like jobs, tax revenue, obviously, right? Huge. And trying to cut down, not just that, how much money they're spending, hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars on the failed war on drugs, right? Trying to enforce these ridiculous laws and to trying to prevent it. Like people are still in jail doing 40, 50, 60 years just for cannabis related stuff, right? So it needs to change. And yeah, just from a government efficiency standpoint and spending, you could cut down on all those enforcement actions, right? And cut down on the DEA spending all these hundreds of millions of dollars and focus on other stuff. So not only would it generate tax revenue, create jobs, it would also cut the spending. Irwin needs to buy some stock. Show everyone he's got skin in the game. He's got a lot of skin in the game, right? You have to remember a lot of his compensation comes from share compensation. And he said in a recent interview he's never sold a share as part of his compensation. So a lot of people are saying, he makes millions and millions of dollars. Well, guess what? He never sold a share, so he never realized any of that, right? So then he gets his actual pay from his job. But yeah, you have to remember he didn't sell any of it. And he has a lot of skin in the game, right? Why would he really need to buy more with his own money when he already gets a ton of compensation in shares anyway, right? So you have to think about it that way. My biggest MJ stock is CGC. Could this stock go bankrupt? Any stock can go bankrupt. Apple almost went bankrupt in 1997 if it wasn't for Microsoft investing $150 million. And then on any given day now in 2024, 2025, Apple is more valuable than Microsoft. So if Apple selling non-Schedule 1, non-federally illegal products can almost go bankrupt, why can't an MJ stock? Absolutely it can. It's still illegal in the US, right? So it's always a possibility that a stock can go bankrupt. Do I think it's the most likely scenario for Canopy? No. I think they're too big to fail at this point. If they were really like in dire straits, I think they would just merge with another company personally. And I think that very well could happen, to be honest. This is the perfect time to DCA. Bought Tilray and CGC. VIP member Humberto in the house. We got Mr. Mankey as well for VIPs. Thanks again for being a member. Yeah, you can't go wrong dollar cost averaging here, in my opinion. But obviously, don't risk any more than you're willing to lose, and can always go lower. So don't try to expect it to time the bottom either. RFK Jr. says rescheduling decision to be made by DA. Yeah, he deferred to the DA who was against it. Is this the end of rescheduling? I don't think so. And even if it gets kind of put on the back burner for now, that's going to encourage, in my opinion, the executive branch and Congress to get some laws passed. Right. At the end of the day, it shouldn't be the DEA anyway. It should be Congress. They should be the ones creating the laws, and the DEA should be enforcing the laws. Imagine that, the Drug Enforcement Agency. Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? But this is why we can't have nice things, folks. This is why I hate politics. Every single bit of it. It's all theater. It's the world's a stage. It's like this for a reason. They make it so complicated. They bore the ever-living hell out of you. You have to be a lawyer to even understand half of this stuff. And even lawyers are like, I don't know. Like I think I understand. With my 12 years of a law degree, like they're still somewhat confused. So, just imagine the average Joe and Jane, right? They do this for a reason. And it's to make everybody scared and confused and to question everything, right? This is beyond ridiculous. Yeah, I mean the DEA is to blame for sure. They've been holding up the rescheduling process. But again, why isn't Congress doing anything? You can point the finger at anything, right? Like why aren't they passing sensible laws, right? So like look at Canada. We've been legal for almost 7 years. What the hell is the U.S. problem? Like it's just bureaucracy and this political drama and people not wanting to just work together. Everybody wants to get the win or whatever, and they don't want to do a standalone bill. They want to pass it as part of a bigger bill, and then it's like, well, there's some other things that hold it up. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I agree, and it's time to get with the times. But I say we need to get Congress to pass laws. Like screw the DEA. Congress should be like, put the blame on Congress. Do your job. Could you touch on Tilray financials? Your personal opinion? Yeah. So they've been turning the corner. They've been showing some improvements, but you have to keep in mind that there's still a very high excise tax regime here in Canada, and we're still federally illegal in the U.S. So they're just starting to get into HC9 beverages in the U.S. So they're selling those. Tilray is paying down debt. So overall, their financials aren't great right now, but I think very, very soon they're going to turn a page, and it's more than likely going to be, after we get rescheduling or some sort of meaningful reform in the U.S. But Germany is a big market for them as well. They're seeing a ton of momentum there. So it's not just the U.S. and the Canadian game, right? There's the EU, the U.K., Latin America. There's a lot of market out there. Did you ever look into Iconic brands ticker Leaf. No, I've heard of them, but not a big fan of. Well, it's not that I'm not a fan or a fan. It's just I haven't really dug into them too much. No, heard of them, but I'll have to see what I can do and look into the. There's just so many, right? There's so many. When will you be investing your crypto earnings into MJ? Great question, Andrew. Like I'm thinking I'll probably be rotating a lot of my crypto profits into MJ probably over the next few months. I'm thinking March, April should be the blow off top for a lot of crypto, and then right around there, I'm going to be rotating a lot of that into the MJ sector. I'm just fed up with the bleeding. Yeah, it's brutal, Jam. House says I can't buy the U.S. names. It gives me a stock restricted error. Yeah, and that just goes to show you how early we are as well, right? You must be international. I would assume you're not in the U.S. or Canada if that's the case. You're probably in like Europe or something like that. Idaho Spud says it hurts the pain, lost 80%. I need psychological help. Yeah, exactly, right? Like I feel for you. There's a lot of people that it's not just numbers on a screen, right? This is people's hard-earned money. And if you don't know what you're doing, you can like people lose their wives, their husbands, they lose their ever loving mind, right? Like if you put like I know some people that are down hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like you do not need to invest your life savings. In fact, you should not into crypto or MJ. They're the two most volatile, riskiest asset classes on the planet. So I really hope at the end of the day, if there's some silver lining or some positive out of this, is that you learn for next time, right? And don't get too caught up in the hype and like you know it's like I said, it's rough. I know. I lost when I was starting to invest in crypto. I lost all of my money. I had all of my crypto on one exchange, and the exchange was a Ponzi scheme and went belly up. I lost one Bitcoin and two Ethereum. Today, that would be worth almost $200,000 Canadian, and it just all gone. So I lost almost $200,000 Canadian, and I wanted to quit. I was like, I wanted to like fly to Vancouver where this company was based out of and find the owner and smack him silly, right? But at the end of the day, it was like, well, probably my fault for having it all on one exchange. Probably my fault for trusting them and not using a hardware wallet. And why would I? Yeah, now I learned my lesson. Now I have like four exchanges, and I never put any more than maybe 5 to 10% on one exchange, and I keep everything on. So again, it's all about learning from it, right? Your opinion about CGC, how high it could go this year? That's a difficult one, especially after the post split. But yeah, we need to confirm a bull market first, right? We're still in a bear market, so I would say after big tech, crypto, AI tops out, then we'll discuss price targets on MJ. Because right now we're just looking at lower lows, right? So there's no end in sight right now. So until we start to see momentum shift the other way, I don't think we should be talking about higher price targets. I think we should be talking about lower price targets for now. After we end the bear market and start a bull market, then we can start talking about higher price targets, right? Does that make sense? Hopefully. Reverse split would mean to wait longer before selling. $25 USD target would turn into 250 USD. Yeah, same thing with share price go up, share count go down, right? Why is Musk not pushing MJ? He's got his talking points just like all of them, right? Eventually, what you'll see is once big tech, crypto, AI top out, every second word out of everybody's mouth will be MJ. Mark my words, right? You'll see front pages of CNBC and BNN and all these other mainstream media sites will be pushing MJ stocks, just like they were in 2018. We just don't have any support from the mainstream media or anyone really. It's just a popularity contest, and MJ is the least popular it has ever been. Which reverse split strategy would be possible? Yeah, that's a good point. I would say a 1 for 10 would probably be the most likely scenario. Make sure to smash the like. Thank you very much, Savage. Jam says, "Why Trudeau's still talking? When are you guys expecting a new leader?" I think they said like the earliest that the election could be is like April, and the latest would be like in the fall. So it's probably going to be Pierre Poilievre or whatever. And I think he's taken a pro, like he doesn't really, he was kind of negative, voted against the bill to legalize in Canada in 2018, but I think he's since taken a more progressive approach, and he's very anti-tax. So you never know, he might, and he wants the Canadian market to really come back and invest in like data centers and things like that. So he seems very pro-business and anti-tax. So that means that we could see excise tax lowered as well, and like remove excise tax on medical. Like, why are we charging an excise tax on medical products? That's just ridiculous, right? It's medicine. There has to be some kind of news around the corner. Yeah, I think there'll be massive news coming out after big tech and crypto and AI stop stealing the show, right? Once those enter bear markets, then you'll just see catalyst after catalyst for MJ. There was a recent article as well from the MJ Herald. I shared that Trump still supports rescheduling safer banking. I've been saying that for a while now as well, right? Like, we're probably going to get banking and uplisting to the NYSE and the NASDAQ for these U.S. names before any meaningful reform. Why? Because the big banks have to get positioned, right? They're not going to play on the OTC, and they need to have the NASDAQ and the NYSE, right? So again, before they let the floodgates open up, before they unleash the shackles and let this industry flourish and prices skyrocket again, I think they're really going to want to have safer banking and uplisting to the NYSE and the NASDAQ for these U.S. names. That's why in like 2021, you saw names like Tilray and SNDL and Afria just absolutely skyrocketing, while a lot of the U.S. names weren't seeing as much upside, and that had to do with U.S. major exchanges, right? Like billions of dollars, where like in one day, Tilray had $2.2 billion traded just in one day on one exchange. And if you looked at like Trulieve that day, it had like 100 million or something. Like, it's not even comparable. Had good hope for RFK. Yeah, I think he'll come through. I think he'll work with the agencies, and it'll come from the top down, right? Not the bottom up. Tilray still carries $2 billion in goodwill, making up nearly 48% of total assets. Do you think another major write down is coming? Yeah, I think, I don't think the pain is over yet, for sure. Just remember that Tesla had its biggest loss ever right before it turned its first ever annual profit. It lost like $154 million one quarter, and now Tesla makes $154 million every 6 days. So, Tesla almost went bankrupt too. Elon Musk even said it. And guess what? They're not selling Schedule 1 federally illegal drugs in the US. So if they almost went bankrupt selling legal products, we kind of need to cut these industries, these MJ names, some slack, right? And call a spade a spade. So typically, with, like I said, with Tesla, they had their biggest loss ever, and then they went on to turn their first ever annual profit. So yeah, typically big losses tend to mean very, very big profits if the company hangs around and makes it through the other side. And there's going to be a lot of companies that don't make it through the other side, but I think Tilray has over 700 distributors in the US. Like, how many brands do they have? Like dozens of brands. They have like 20 some brew pubs. They have like 20 some facilities across the US, like just manufacturing facilities, all their facilities in Canada, all their facilities in Portugal and international. Like, they've got so many assets. It's not even funny. And brands, right? Tariffs paused for Canada too. Oh, I'm so surprised. It's just threats. Like, I literally, it's funny how no one remembers the trade war with China last time Trump was president. Like, he just does this to get what he wants. And usually it doesn't really amount to anything. And then he imposes the tariffs, and then, okay, he wasn't bluffing. And then, we'll give him what he wants. And then we start, next thing, Canada will become the 51st state of the United States. I don't think that's going to happen, but wouldn't that be crazy if it did? Do you use Ledger cold wallets or just exchanges? I use Ledger cold, the Ledger wallet, cold wallet. Yeah, it's not my favorite. It's probably my worst liked. Can't stand it, to be honest. Tangent's the best, in my opinion. But I have a SecUX wallet as well. I have 2 Tangent wallets, a SecUX, and a Ledger X. So I have 4 hardware wallets. I use a cold wallet for my crypto. Savage says, yeah, absolutely, you got to. Any hope for this sector? I've been broken account for the past 4 years, a very big chunk of money. Yeah, I know it's rough, Shane. Definitely hope. Like, the sector's not going anywhere, right? More and more countries starting to legalize, and yeah, we're still in the first inning, and I know it's brutal going through it. But you have to remember, there's been a lot of people that made a lot of money in MJ as well. It's not just people who lost money, right? There was a lot of money. There was a lot of millionaires made in 2018 on Canada legalization. Trump signed for a sovereign wealth fund. Yeah, we discussed that on the XRP live stream last time I was live. What up, Rod? What's up, Ben? Thanks for joining. We got Ken in the house. Where do you trade your stocks? I like Wealthsimple for stocks in Canada, but they increasingly don't hold stocks I like. Yeah, I have Wealthsimple. I have Questrade. I use my RBC Direct Investing. I use Moomoo the odd time. Wealthsimple just introduced pre-market trading, early trading, so I like that. Their fees are pretty ridiculous though on Wealthsimple, so you kind of have some trade-offs there. But some things, especially crypto, it's like 2%, I think. But yeah, those are some of the ones. Robinhood in the U.S. TD Ameritrade. Yeah, MJ is an absolute money grave for years. Yeah, well, again, there was life-changing wealth from 2016 to 2018. And then, there was a lot of opportunity in 2021 too. Like Tilray was at $67, let's not forget. From a few dollars all the way up to $67 on hopes of U.S. legalizing in 2021 when the Dems took control of the presidency and the House. And yeah, imagine what's going to happen when they actually legalize it. And then that will happen, right? This industry isn't going anywhere. It's too big to fail, in my opinion. And it's medicine. It's changing people's lives. It's not like alcohol. It's not just an alternative to alcohol or tobacco. It's medicine. Canada and Trump come to an agreement just like 30 minutes ago. Yeah, great. Yeah, I knew it would right after Mexico, an agreement. And then China was like, oh, China's working with them too. It's just a scare tactic. Oxy has not been bad lately. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier in the stream that they're actually holding up pretty well today, sitting at 5 cents, hovering around that 4 or 5 cent area and kind of stabilizing. So yeah, I think Oxy is going to be one of those really, really high risk. Well, no, not really. If you add it, it's very low risk, high reward actually. So I was adding at like a penny and 2 pennies. I really loaded the boat on it, and I think it's one of those names that could really start to turn it around. All right, I gotta go. My tenant, one of my long-term tenants, is messaging me as well, so I gotta go tend to a few other things here. But thanks again, everybody, for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth. It's Rod with Pow Group. Hang in there. I know it's brutal. Yeah, it just goes to show you though that look at this sell-off on crypto last night. So many things were down 40, 50%. And that, some names down like 30%, 40% in a day, right? So crypto and MJ are the two most volatile, riskiest sectors. And days like today and yesterday show that, right? So you have to call a spade and understand that these sectors are not for everybody. And you have to really know what you're doing and not go all in. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't risk any more than you're willing to lose, because this is not for the faint of heart, right? And not very many people can stomach these kinds of pullbacks. So have a great night as well, Savage. Thank you very much, everybody. It's Rod with Pow Group once again. Have a great night, and we'll catch you on the next video.